Good evening. Good evening, Yossi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Coming in clear.
Yeah,
Okay,
Rabbi,
very
you're
good.
on.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakel niyeh b'dvorei.
Amen.
Okay. Shlomo, Yeshikoyach for joining us. Yeshikoyach, everyone, for joining us tonight.
I always try on Sunday at least.
So we spoke about this. Actually, this is the third part of a series. We spoke about this. There's a story in the Lubavitcher Rebbe's memoirs, Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, Reb Shaul, in the city of Haki, who tried to pull off a practical joke, and he convinced the old Shamish in the great shul on the Simchas Torah that he should announce that the fourth hakofa is for all the humble people, all for the Baalei Anova. And when the old Shamish announced it, the whole Mizrach Wand, they all lined up to dance because they were all humble people. So we spoke about this. What's the pshat? What's the pshat that the Gemara says in the end of Sotah, and those that have the minhag to learn the Masechah Sotah throughout Sfiras Ayman, they finish it on Shavuos. And the end of Masechah Sotah, that Rabbi Yosef said that the Mishnah said that Mishabotla Rebbe Botla Anova v'Yiris Chet. When Rebbe HaKodesh passed away, there was no more humility and fear of sin. And Rabbi Yosef said, Loitisla Anova dikano. Don't mention Anivus. I'm around. Rashi says because I'm an Onav. How could a person say I am an Onav? How can a person? It's like the whole Mizrach van Tzachois Geledig. Everyone in the Mizrach came emptied out. They went in line. They're also getting a coffin now because they're humble people. How could a person say I'm humble? And it's definitely, the Gemara brings it. It wasn't a joke in Harki. When the Gemara brings it, it's a story, and it's a lesson to every one of us. How is it possible that Rabbi Yosef says, I am humble? How does a person say, I am humble? As soon as you say, I am, you're not humble. L'choira. It would seem that way. And yet this week's Parsha, the story of this week's Parsha, and a big part of this week's Parsha is about the leadership of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Pasuk says, Va'ish Moshe onav mi oidim mikol odom asher al pnei adama. That Moshe Rabbeinu was humble. He was humble. And the Mefarshim say, mikol odom, even to Gentiles, even to Klapi Agoy, he felt humble. How is it possible that someone like Moshe Rabbeinu, what Moshe Rabbeinu did Moshe Rabbeinu not know his milas, that the Eibishter appointed him to take the Jews out of Mitzrayim, and the Eibishter said, Gam b'choy yaminu lo'yolam, Moshe yedaber v'lakim yanenu b'koil. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know all these milas. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know who he was. And the Chassidus answers. And this is a quote of the Maimon in Tovshin Yud, Vayaro Om in Tovshin Yud. And if you have the copies, the sources in Lakota Sichas, the first page of the Sikha, second paragraph. Mevuar atiritz di meyoyshe yoda Moshe satoyv shalei vasher ugavoye b'mayla mechalodem mikol mokem hoya onav mikol odem. Moshe knew his qualities, but he was humble. Mipnei sheyoda asher kol inyonim aloyse vasher bahem. He knew that this was a gift from heaven. And he thought to himself, the Moshe Rabbeinu knew that these talents that he has was a gift from heaven. He said, if another person had a yichus like me, he had a father like Amram, and a Zayda like Levi, Asa Shena yichus, Asa Zayda and Asa Baba, and he had such talents like I, he would have utilized his talents and he would have been much greater than I. Till here is what we spoke about in the Shiur 2 weeks before Chag HaShavuos, and then we did another thing about Rabbi Yosef making a big blintzes party a big Eglet Lisa party in honor of Shavuos. But the question is, but Moshe, it's still a little schwer. Sagt the Rebbe. It's a little schwer. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know. The pasuk says, "L'kom novi oid b'Yisrael k'Moshe." He was a prophet. There never was or will be a prophet like Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a principle of faith. So that has nothing to do with his talents. It's true. The Gemara says, "Nadarim and Hakadosh Baruch Hu Masher Shchinose El Gibor ve'Osher ve'Chochem ve'Yona ve'Kulam Moshe." That the Eibishter will not rest a shchin on a person unless he is a gibor, strong, he strengthens himself over his yetzer, he's wealthy, he's wise, he's humble. We learn it from Moshe Rabbeinu. But first of all, these things don't make you a Navi. Like the Rambam describes, that the Nevi'im would sit and with Ephod Bud, they would be playing instruments and singing songs. Just because a group of guys are sitting in the Upper Galilee outside of Tzfas, and they're playing guitar and other instruments, and they're singing and dancing, and they're besimcha gedola. It doesn't mean that they're going to be prophets. If a person is not besimcha, he can never be a prophet. A person who is besimcha, and he has the mila of gibur, osher, chochem, onav, balkoim, and so on, so then if God chooses him, he will be a prophet. Without these qualities, he can't be a prophet. With his qualities, God will choose him to be a prophet. The Eibush chose Moshe Rabbeinu to be the prophet. So this explanation the Chassidus give L'choida doesn't fully explain the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. And why do we want to know the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu? Because the question is, how do me and you, all of us sitting here tonight, Yossi, and Shloime, and Shmulik, and all of us that are sitting here tonight are learning, how do we work on ourselves to be humble? There's a very big difference between shiflus and anivus, says Chassidus. Shiflus means a person has nothing to boast about. A person, they say, as I mentioned the other day, the Yerushalmi say, when a person has no backbone, could you sway him this way and that way? It's insufficient, he's in between. You can sway me here. So they said insufficient is a shmata. Insufficient is a shmata. I mean, that's not called humble. That's called shuffle. A person realizes that they're empty. That's not called humble. Humble faket. Chassidus says humble means a person strong, has strength of character, and you can't just schlep him one with the Eitzad. Is not going to schlep him like a little child one way or the other. But the person feels that every moment is valuable. And time is precious, and all that his talents that he has is a gift from heaven, and therefore he's humble, because he feels that perhaps someone else would have utilized the time and effort and the talent even better than he did. But there must be something deeper here in Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen as a prophet, and there never will be a prophet like Moshe, and that was not because of his talents. That was Bechira from the Eibishter. He was picked and chosen for this. So, but he still was very humble. There must be another something, and true it is, and the Rebbe will explore it. And but before we explore this, first on the first level of humility, which is thinking about the talent that's given to us, and it's really a gift from heaven. I'd like you to look to pay your attention to two pieces in Chassidus. One is Maimori Admoir Azak, and the other one is Biure Azoya from the Tzemach Tzedek. If you have, thank you very much, Rabbi, for sending out the Mana Makaimis. If you have the Mana Makaimis, so the first one is Maimori Admoir Azak. Yisaf Anovim Bashem Simcha V'Avyoni Adam B'Kodesh Yisrael Yagilu. It's a pasuk in Yeshaya. So Lohavin Loshem Bashem Simcha Da'av L'Leim L'Smeich Bashem V'Gam Yisaf in Tchilat Tzarech L'Avim Ma'u Inyan Simcha L'Anovim Davka. Why is it that humble people are happy? You would think that haughty people are happy and proud. Why is it that the Navi says that it's not that way? That humble people are happy people. Haughty people are not. Why? Wouldn't you think it's the other way around? Ki yadua b'chisvei ha'arizal. Sheshalua talmida v'mau ikir azachus shezocha l'ruach ha'kodesh u'legilu Eliyahu. his students asked him how he was zoiche to have Ruach HaKodesh and to see Eliyahu Hanavi. Ve'eshiv rak machmas davar echad k'she'asa mitzvah asa oisa b'simcha rabba v'atzuma ad ma'od. He said it really comes from one point. Whenever I did a mitzvah, I did it with unbelievable amount of simcha. The opportunity to do a mitzvah filled my heart with joy every time. I could give a sandwich to an ani, I filled my heart with simcha. I could put on a pair of tefillin, it fills my heart with simcha. Every mitzvah I could do, it filled my heart full with joy, with simcha rabba. And from this I was zoiche to Ruach HaKodesh. המכלל הפוסק תחת שלבדת השם בשמחה וטוב יובן זה, הנה לפי שהיה ניצוץ מוישה רבינו עליו השלום שעונב מכל אדם. The truth is, says the Alter Rebbe, that Arizal was a spark of the neshama Moshe Rabbeinu. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu was very humble, the same the Arizal. And just like Moshe Rabbeinu was filled with simcha, so the Arizal. Came Dover Echad Mamish, because humility and brings a person to have simcha. Kamoshi is born, Bezos Hashem is born. Lakar zochel de simcha meima shezochel Moshe Rabbeinu al Hashem adei avnaver. Rak mnei avnaver oirotza lagalosh and it's Moshe Rabbeinu all of Hashem. He didn't want to tell them that he was a spark of Moshe, but really he was a spark of Moshe. Why is simcha and anova synonymous? Skip 2 lines. What does it mean to be humble? That a person doesn't feel his qualities as being his own. All the good and all his accomplishments is nothing in his eyes, as if he didn't do it. Like the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, that they sent a letter from Eretz Yisrael because the question was who they should appoint as a dayan in Bavel. Ezu ben Olam Haba and Voson v'Shofar Berech Shayif v'Yoliv Shayif v'Nofik. The law machzik tivusel l'nafshei. Who is the person that belongs in Olam Haba? The person has humility, and he doesn't machzik toivel atzmai. He doesn't find that his good belongs to him. What does it mean it doesn't belong? He doesn't feel that his good belongs to him. Alter Rebbe is simple. Because his good, his talent is a gift from heaven. It's a gift from heaven. The truth is, if you look in the Gemara, it's all kind of complicated. Pshatim, the Pesach Enaim says, Loi Machzik Tivusas, because he's Choshesh, maybe he come from another Gilgul. Another Pshat, he says, because it's just like a woman, it's Maiseh Deh Keneged Mezon Esea. So, and the question is, if she works harder, maybe she gets a little to change, or maybe not. So if a Yid is serving the Eibush so hard, so maybe he gets a little extra brownie points, and a tzaddik is not machzik. He doesn't think that he worked hard enough, that he has a little extra, because everything is keneged the mezonos. These are all pshatim, they're all gedreit. They're all gedreit. Alter Rebbe is simple. They sent from Eretz Yisrael in the letter to explain what does it mean that someone is humble. He knows that he has toiva, that he accomplished great things and achieved the great things in life, but he doesn't find he doesn't machzik tivusel l'nafshei. He says it was a gift from heaven. It could be even humble to every human being, even to a goy. The fact that I am connected to God with ropes of love and I have faith in Hashem, not because I came to know my Creator and I have such a fire. It's an inheritance of Avraham Avinu. It was from Avraham Avinu. Just like a person, a wealthy man lives millions or billions of dollars to his son. The man that built up the wealth, he is praiseworthy, but his baby son he's lucky. His father was rich. He left him a groise Yerusha. Same thing a person feels, that the amunah we have in Hashem And the Slavos that we have in our Avodah is a gift that was given to us, and it's a Yerusha, it's an inheritance that comes from Avraham Avinu. Like the Chassidim said, was mir am Gehodowitz and the Kinder kommen geringe Heid that we toiled and easy for you have Chassidim, their parents are Balei Tshuva, they started from scratch, they learned Aleph Beis. Anoshim Askilim, unbelievable intellectual people, smart people, they started as adults from scratch. Their children already went to yeshiva, everything is coming easy, it's coming to them in a silver platter. But their parents are like Avraham Avinu. They're like mamish like Avraham Avinu. So a person thinks to himself that these are all things that I got a Yerusha from my yichus and from the Eibishter. I mean, there's some fascinating stuff at the end of the page, stories, and I'm going to stop at this point because we have a Shicha to cover, and I just wanted to read a little bit Oisis Machkimas and the Maimah de Alter Rebbe. I would encourage you to read till the end of the page, and maybe the next page as well. Another little reading let's do in the Biura Azoyer of the Tzemach Tzedek, and I underlined it so we can get straight to the few lines I want to read, is B'kedusha B'chinas Bittel. By Kedusha, everything is bittul. Not like the world thinks that anivus and shiflus are synonymous. Not true. Shuffle means that he knows that he's empty. He has nothing to boast. But anav is humble means the opposite. He has all the milas. And all the shleimus and chachman and so on, and in midos, he was the shleimus of humanity. The word idea of humility is bittul. He doesn't feel himself as something unique. He doesn't feel himself as something unique, like the 10 spheres that are called anwe'eres. Now, what's the Tzemach Tzedek saying over here? Well, but before what the Alter Rebbe says, we understand. What's the Tzemach Tzedek saying over here? What is he saying over here? Chinese. Okay, so before we go into understand what the Tzemach Tzedek is saying, and basically, if you ask Chassidus how to work on humility, Musa will have a lot of things to tell you. I'll tell you to look about, to think about your emptiness and think about your sins and think about your inequities, but that's not the derech HaChassidus. And Chassidus will tell you that means shuffle. That doesn't mean onov. Onov means that my hislavas navaydus Hashem, my fire, my emunah is a gift from heaven, and it's a Yerusha. That's step number one. And step number two is something elusive, which we will try to understand tonight, because these are two tools for humility api Chassidus. But before we go to the second level, let's lunge into the Shicha, which is a Siyum it's a Siyum Mesechus Sotah, and now it's a Chodesh Hashlishi, and we're coming now from Chag HaShavuos. So if you have the copies, please open up to the Gemara in Sotah, the last page in Mesechus Sotah. The Mishnah says, the last two lines, Mishameis Rabbi. When Rabbi passed away, there was no more humility and fear of sin. Rabbi Yosef said to the Tana who was reading the Mishnah, in other words, to the person who was reading the Mishnah, don't say in the Mishnah that there is no more humility. Because I'm around. Rabbi Nachman said, don't read that there is no humility because I'm around. Then there is at the end of the page a different nusach that has the end of the Mishnah, which is a machloikis if this nusach belongs here or not, or we'll get back to that soon. Okay. Put this down for a moment. We spoke in the last year, and we just summarized earlier, how is it possible that Rabbi Yosef should say he is humble? Okay. And we spoke about another two pshatim and shlogged up the other two pshatim. Now, one of the pshatim, for example, was that Rabbi Yossi was humble, said, not that he's humble, the people in his generation is humble because they took him as a Rosh Yeshiva. But Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi says, I am humble. And the Rebbe Pashtus, the reason is that, just like Reb Nachman said, Ama Yirichet, and they both spoke. So it's Rebbe Pashtus, just like Reb Nachman when he said that Yirichet is not bottle because Ama Yirichet, the same Rabbi Yossi means there's no bottle on nivus because Ama on it. Okay. I don't want to, we already understand this in you. A second shaila. An interesting shaila to explore, says the Rebbe. Not why, we understand how Rabbi Yosef could say, I am humble. Okay. But why didn't Rabbi Yosef for a moment think about Reb Nachman? And Reb Nachman for a moment think about Rabbi Yosef? That would be sweet. If Rabbi Yosef said, don't say Yiris Chet, because Reb Nachman is around. And Reb Nachman said, don't say there's no more Nivus, because my friend Rabbi Yosef is around. Now that would have been something special. That would have been something amazing. All the Bala Musa would be talking about this Sasiyah Masechet Sotah, if that's the way it said. It was written. If that's the way it was told. And the truth is, we find that Rebbe brings a few Rayos and Shas that they complemented each other. We find that Rabbi Yossi said in Reb Nachman, Darshinu Hani Kroi Kisinai, that he said, wow, the whole Sugya in Kiddushin and in Erechim, he said, wow, the way you explained the Psukim, it's mamish, it's beautiful. It's like Semechim Kines and also Mezina, it's beautiful. And Reb Nachman also compliments Rabbi Yossi, calls him Sinai. So they complement their contemporaries and they complement each other constantly. Now, if that's what the Masechta would have finished with, that would have been beautiful. That would have been a story. That Reb Nachman said, how could you say there's no more humility? My friend Rabbi Yosef is around. And Rabbi Yosef would say, how could you say there's no more Yiris? My friend Reb Nachman is around. And why really didn't they do that? Or at least Rabbi Yosef should have said, don't say, it says, Rabbi it's not true. Me and Reb Nachman is around. So you can't say it. And Reb Nachman would say the same thing. You can't say it. Me and Rabbi Yosef are around. And then there's Glata Kasha. Glata Kasha. The Gemara, and we'll look at this Gemara in a moment. The Gemara says, Anova maybe lidei Yiris Chet. Anova is lower and it brings you to have Yiris Chet. So how did Reb Nachman say that, don't worry, Yiris Chet, that didn't cease to exist? Well, obviously, if Yiris Chet didn't cease to exist, also Anova didn't cease to exist. Because Anova is less. Okay. So there's three possible biurim that Rebbe gives to understand this, and one better than the other. Even though the first biur the Rebbe slugs it up, but it's just such a chap, such a rich chap, such a lumdus that it's remarkable lumdus. It's a remarkable chap. So open up if you have the sources, or if you have a Gemara in front of you, you can open up the Gemara in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Chof Amud Beis. The Gemara says like this: Amar Pinchas ben Yoyer. Toire maybe l'dei Zehiru, Zehirus maybe l'dei Zerizu, Zerizus maybe l'dei Kohen. There's like stepping stones. You get from to Torah brings you to have Zehirus, and that brings us to Zerizus. Zerizus brings you to Nekiyus. Nekiyus maybe l'dei Prishus. Prishus maybe l'dei Tahora. Tahora maybe l'dei. I'm going to do the other gis on the side, which is the simpler gisa. L'dei Kedusha. Kedusha maybe l'dei Anova. Anova l'dei Yiris. So these are all stepping stones. But you notice that Anova is lower, and that brings us to higher level, which is Yiris Chet. Yiris Chet maybe l'dei Chasidus. And which is the highest level, Chassidus. And once you have Chassidus, then you have Ruach HaKodesh and Tchias HaMesim. And that's why Chassidus Gedolim Mekulam. Chassidus is the biggest level of Kedusha. From Chassidus you already fall into Ruach HaKodesh and Tchias HaMesim. Shenema Oz Debarta Bechozen L'Chassidecha. Like the Gemara Pligid Rabbi Shiur Malevi, that Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoyer argues with Rabbi Shiur Malevi. Rabbi Shiur Malevi says no. Anova Gedolim Mekulan. Anova is bigger. Shenemar Ruach Hashem Alakim Abai. Yan Moshech Shemoisi Lavaser Anovim. That the Eibishter told me to give the good news that Mashiach is coming, and I should tell it to Anovim, to the Jews who are humble. Chasidim loina merala novim. We're talking about the mile of the Jews because the Jews have the mile of humility. So we see Sha'anova Gedolim Mikulan, that the biggest mile, the reason why the Jews will get the good news that Mashiach is coming is because they are anovim. You remember the song? I have good news to tell you, Mashiach is on his way. So why is he going to tell the Yidden the good news? Because they have the mile of Anova. They have the mile of Anova.
It also says, Anovim Igi Azman Geolaschem.
What does that? Anovim Igi Azman Geolaschem, the Medrash says. It comes from this pasuk. We see that the Indian of Anova, the mile of Anova. So, by looking Tosfos says Anova maybe the Yid is Chet. The Tosfos says, the Yerushalmi says the opposite. The Yerushalmi, the Shkolim says, God is Ipche. Yid is Chet, maybe the Anova. Yid is Chet brings us to have Anova. Because he holds like Rabbi Shua Balevi, that Anova is the highest level. Not Chassidus is the highest level, but Anova is the highest level. So basically, we have here a machloikis. We have here a machloikis between Anova and Yiras Chet. What brings you to what? Who is higher and who is lower? According to the Bavli and according to Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoed, Anova maybe the Yiras Chet. First you have Anova, and then you get to Yiras Chet. First humility, and then fear of sin. That means Anova is the smaller level, and Yiras Chet is the higher level. According to the Yerushalmi and Yeshua Malevi, it's the opposite. Yiras Chet, maybe Lidei Anova. That means that Yiras Chet is the lower level, and that brings you to Anova, which is the higher level. Fear of sin is the lower level, and humility is the higher level. Okay, sorry that it's a little Rubik's Cube. When you chap the pshat, it's beautiful. The Rebbe says that perhaps you could say like this. The machloikas here between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman, why each one said that only one, Rabbi Yossi said, you can't say that Anova doesn't exist anymore. Rabbi Nachman said, you can't say Yiras Chet doesn't exist anymore. Because each one agreed that the higher level doesn't really exist anymore. The lower level exists. And the shaila is, it's a machloikas Bavli and Yerushalmi, it's a machloikas Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair Yeshua Malevi, what is the lower and what is the higher? So Rabbi Yossi holds like the Bavli. He says that Anova is the lower one. So Anova, he says, Loitis na Anova. Don't tell me Anova doesn't exist. The lower one still exists. But the higher one, Yiras Chet, doesn't exist anymore. And Rabbi Nachman says, Loitis na Yiras Chet, because he holds like the Yerushalmi, that Yiras Chet is the lower one. And Yiras Chet maybe the Anova. So he says, you can't say that we don't have any more Yiras Chet. The lower level Yiras Chet we have. The higher level we don't have. Because it makes sense to say that even if something exists now, that we have the lower level, not the higher level. If Rebbe HaKodesh had two things, he had two milas, Anova and Yiras Chet, and we want to say something still remains. A little bit shirayim geblieben a bissel. A bissel leftovers, some leftovers are left. Shirayim were left. So you're not going to say the bigger level was left, you say the smaller level is left. So that's the machlokes of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman. One said that Anova was left, and the other one said Yiras Chet was left. Because that's the machlokes of the Pinchas ben Yair and Yeshua Malevi, the machlokes of the Bavli and Yerushalmi. According to the Bavli, Anova maybe the Yiras Chet. So therefore you say that Anova is left. And according to Yerushalmi, Yiras Chet maybe the Anova, so you say Yiras Chet is left. I think this shot is nothing short than brilliant. Why did Rebbe decide he has to slug it up now? I don't know.
Rabbi.
He slugs it up anyway. Yeah.
Rabbi, we said that Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim. So what's different if Anava is higher or this higher? Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim. Everything is from Hashem.
Ah, you hit it on the nail. Sasson, you hit it. You see, you're a nitzitz of the Arizal. You bring Sasson, you bring joy. You hit it on the nail, exactly. That's the Alter Rebbe Shaila. He doesn't understand. How could it be a machlokes, machlal? Let's just be friends. Why are we arguing the Bavli and Yerushalmi? Let's just have Anova and Yiras Chet, and that's it. We'll make up shorter. Like the Tosfos
also
says.
From the next Tosfos, it's mashma techsirim as Anova.
No, 1 second before you go to the next one, it says, Yehuda mi Paris, that really, Yiras Chet, Chochma, and Anova are equal. You can't have one without the other, but really one is higher than the other. But still, as Akasha, what do you mean? First of all, why can't we be friends and say that they're equal? Why does one have to be higher and bring you to the other? And how could there be machloikis from the Bavli Yerushalmi and Akotza Lakotza? That the Bavli's horse says that Anov is lower and Yiras Chet is higher, and the Yerushalmi says just the opposite. But the Alter Rebbe has a biur nifla pichsidus, and we'll get to that soon. I'm sorry that I'm not going to let you skip straight to it. But first we're going to a little gribble. We'll go through the exercise of going through the sikh, and then we'll get to it. Okay. Let's continue. So again, the Rebbe has a brilliant pshat here. He says that maybe the machloikis of Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Nachman was the machloikis of the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. Again, Rabbi Yosef says the only anava is not bottle. Rabbi Nachman says only Yiras Chet is not bottle. Because the shaila is which is the lower darga. Rabbi Yosef goes with the Bavli that the anava is the lower darga. And the Rabbi Nachman goes with the Yerushalmi that Yiras Chet is the lower darga. But the Rebbe says a little schwer. First of all, the Gemara never said that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman are arguing in this machlokes of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. And a little bit it's fakert, because really Rabbi Yossi really was more connected to the Yerushalmi. From Eretz Yisrael, they said that Sinai Odif, that Rabbi Yosef should be the Rosh Yeshiva. And Rabbi Nachman is called Chassidei Bovel. And now you're telling me that fakert, that Rabbi Yossi is going like, who is really the Mr. Yerushalmi is holding like the Bavli, that the Anov is the lower level, and Rabbi Nachman, which is Mr. Bavli, is going now like Yerushalmi. His Chet is lower. I mean, it could be that that they're not bound. They're not. It's not like in Israel. The party tells you how to vote. That Rabbi Nachman has to always vote with the Avodah and he has to always vote with the Likud. I mean, it's not, but still, it's like a mochlefes, a shit. It's a little peladik. The Rebbe doesn't like this pshat. As I said, I think this pshat is so brilliant that you can't just chuck the pshat. But anyway, the Rebbe said this is not the tachlis of pshat. The Rebbe is going to give a second pshat and then a third pshat. And the third pshat will answer Sasson's question. Second pshat is just a beautiful pshat. They say there was a story that Alter Rebbe, we met one of his chaverim, and he was learning Torah. He had a Talmud that was davening, and his Talmud was on fire. Reb Chaim Chaikel of Hamdura. And he said, "Look at this. Look at my Talmud." Alter Rebbe said, "Your Talmud is not davening. Chaim Chaikel Hamdura is davening now." In other words, your fire is burning in your student, but your student itself is not on fire. You are on fire, and therefore your student who is connected, who is a chosed and his kashrus, going into Gimel Tammuz, when we think about his kashrus is so strong that your fire is burning in him. Here's the question. Yeah, we said that Rabbi Yosef was humble because he thought that he has nothing to boast. If someone else had the same, that he got the Torah, he was a Yid, he was able to get the Torah, and he had these Kishronis, he had the Yerusha. Okay, fine. So you can't boast with the Torah, therefore you're humble. But it's a Torah that makes a person a better person. The Gemara says a Torah magono matzolam yetzahara. There's not nichshel, there's not bali dechet. Torah makes a person a different person, a refined person. Torah makes a person a good person, a good mensch pashat. You see how loim de Torah tzaddikim. And there were pashat good people. There is from in the shul we have this publication from that they have from Gedolei Yisrael, stories for children. So I picked it up the other day. It was a beautiful story. Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Spector, that he went in the summer. He would go away, and he would go on vacation for a few weeks. He would sit and learn. He didn't want nothing. He didn't want to know no one and nothing. He sat like on an island, in like a little bungalow, and he took his phone with him, and he had a shamish. He had this who was working for this Rabbi Lifshitz, who used to come bring him shilas that he would write the tshuvas, he'd give it back. And he was back. He was so Rabbi Lifshitz was already on the boat, the rowboat going back to. So the Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan comes running. He calls him. He says, "Oh yeah, I forgot something very important. I want to ask you a favor. Recently, there's a stray cat that I'm taking care of this cat. I give it a bowl of milk every morning. and I left and I forgot I have to take care that someone should give the milk. The cat must be starving by now. Do me a favor, tomorrow morning you see behind my hat, there's the house, there's a cat that's waiting over there. Could you bring it a bowl of milk? Whatever you could say about, I'm just saying, this, we see that Yidden were good people. Mefrat, Elohim, they Torah, they were good people. The Rachamav al-Kolmaisa, they were good people. Fragt sich the Shaila, Zoi. Fragt sich the Shaila, since the Torah makes that a person should become a refined person, so you tell me the Torah, I can't boast with having the Torah. Because that was a gift from the Eibishter. But the fact that you learn Torah, and now you're a refined person, so that is a mila that you have. That is a mila that you have. You can't tell me, I'm only protected from the sin because I understood the Torah was good, and that was a talent from heaven. I wouldn't have been such a good person. I'm sorry, that doesn't work that way. That would be a twisted way of thinking. Why a Yid, when he learns Torah, the Torah protects him? I understand. Because you were Mesiageya b'Torah, so therefore you have this protection against the Yetzer Hara. So how do you tell me that he's on Onov because he sees he has no milas? You do have a mila. If you're Mesiageya b'Torah, you become a better person. You're protected from Chet. So the shaila is, why are you protected min hachet? Is it that you really become a better person? Or every moment, because you're Elohim Torah, at that moment the Torah is protecting you? Is it that you are a better person, or Reb Chaim Chaikel Mamduda is now davening in you? Which one is it? Which one is it? Rabbi Yossi felt that it wasn't his Maila. He wasn't, it's like the Chassidus says about Bircham Mazaka, he cried, well, he didn't know. Bircham Mazaka was a tzaddik. He was a leader of Klal Yisrael. But the Chassidus says he never had time to think what's going on with the etzem of his neshama, if he purified himself or not. But he was busy learning and teaching. He never had any time for anything else anyway. So that was, the Rabbi Yossi said, the Torah is not my Maila, is because I got it from the Eibishter. The fact that I understand the Torah I learn and I can retain it is not my Maila, it's a talent from the Eibishter. The fact that I'm a good person, it's the Torah that's in me. It's not that I became a good person. It's the Torah that's in me. And the Rebbe says you could say the same thing about Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman said, don't worry, don't say there's no more Yiras Chet. I have Yiras Chet. I have fear of sin. But Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree. You have fear of sin. As the Gemara says in the end of Shabbos, of Kuf Nun Vav Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Imid Reb Nachman, Omer le Kaldoi, Be'reich Gan V'hava, that the stargazer said, your son is going to be a thief. So the mother never let her son go out with Gilui Rosh, that she said to her son, Kasi Reishach Kehechet et Tehev Allah, Imta Deshmayu Boy Rachimim. I want you to always wear something on your head to remember that there's someone over you, there's the Rabbanu Shalom, and I want you to always to ask Rachmanos Leibishter to protect you from sin. The Gemara says he was once sitting and learning, he was sitting under a ta'ena, and the yarmulke fell off, and he had such a desire to steal, he went and he climbed straight up the tree, and with his mouth he bit off a whole bunch of ta'enim. That's how strong his desire to steal. So Rabbi Yossi says to Reb Nachman, why are you telling me there's no more Yiras Chet? You have Yiras Chet? That's what you call Yiras Chet? That's called Yiras Chet? The yarmulke is on you. Reb Chaim Amdura is in you. He's not letting you now have Chet. Yiras Chet doesn't mean that a person's scared he's going to get punished. Yiras Chet means he's scared of the Chet. He's scared because the Chet is repugnant. He's scared to be over and Notzen Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. 1 second yarmulke falls off, you go flying up the ta'ena and you rip off ta'enim with your teeth. That you would call Yiras Chet? The Rebbe says we find Taka in Alocha, Machlokes, Reb Nachman and Reb Yossi. Reb Nachman and Reb Yossi. In the Mesechus Brachot, Gemara we didn't get to yet. It's Daf Chafei Amud Beis. if there's made a gleim on the floor, you need a revius water to pour in it, but if you have first water and then come in made a gleim. There's a machlokes. Nachman says that since the water came first, so even if it's less than a revius, it's kosher because kama bottle. And Rabbi Yossi says no, you always need to have a revius. So he says we see here is that also here the machlokes of Nachman and Rabbi Yossi is similar to this. And Nachman says that if you first have mayim tahoidim, so they are the balabos of the place, and whatever comes in now, any thing the tahara is kind of the place. Anything that's not tahar that comes in made aglaim, which is not tahar, they become bottle. But Rabbi Yossi holds not that way. Rabbi Yossi holds that if the tumah comes, you need to have a revius of water. So that's one way of seeing. So that's a way of seeing the machlokes of Reb Nachman and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, "I have no milas in me. The Torah is a gift. I became a better person. Who said I became a better person? Every moment that I'm learning Torah, I'm a better person. But did I really become a better person? I don't know that I'm a better person. Therefore, he was an honor." And the same thing, Lagabe Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman said that Yiris Chet is not bottled. I don't know Yiris Chet. You tell me Yiris Chet is not bottled. Why? Because you're Yoreh Chet? That's what you call Yoreh Chet? Yamalke fell off for 10 seconds and you're climbing onto a tree. You call that Yoreh Chet? I'm not sure that's called Yoreh Chet, says Rabbi Yossi. Yoreh Chet means that it's a mid in his heart. He's scared that the Chet is repugnant to him. He doesn't want to be over Rotz Hashem. I don't call that yet. I'm not sure that's called Yoreh Chet. That's a second pshat. And then there's a third pshat, which is hafla v'afela al pichsidis. Hafla v'afela. As Sasson asked, there's a machlokes here, Babel Yerushalmi. Does Anova bring you to Yiris Chet, or Yiris Chet brings you to Anova? How can you have such a machlokes? Doesn't make sense. Similar to that we have in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, so, if you don't have Yira, you don't have Chochmah. You don't have Chochmah, you don't have Yira. So how are you supposed to start? The chicken and the egg. Who comes first? Who comes first? If you didn't have first Yira, your Chochmah is not worth a nickel or a dime. Okay, I'm going to start with Yira. But if you didn't have Chochmah first, then your Yira is not worth a nickel or a dime. So how am I supposed to start? So Chassidus says that there's 4 levels. There's Yira Tata, and then there is Avarab and Avazuta, Avarab, and then there's Yira Elah. Same thing over here. The Alter Rebbe explains that there's 2 levels in Anova. There is Anova that brings you to have Yiris Chet, and that's the lower level of Anova. And the higher level of Anova is through Yiris Chet you get to the highest level, which is Anova. And that is Taka, the highest level of Anova. There's 2 levels of Anova, says the Alter Rebbe. There's Anova b'pchinas Bina and Anova b'pchinas Kesed. What's the difference? Bina means there's a cheshbon in this anivus. Like we said before, why is he bottled? Someone else had this gift from heaven. He would have done better than I. He would have used his time wiser. He would have used his talents better than I. Then there's bittul be'etzem. There's no reason for the bittul, but it's innate. The Rebbe says it could give a chocha, gemura, a raya, unbelievable raya for this. The Gemara says in Megillah, Ashkenazim say it Matzah Shabbos, in the part of the V'yitnelach on the Tefillah, at the end of the Tefillah. So when we say the Eibishter is an onov, right? Whatever that means. Chassidus has explanation. And what we learn from a pasuk, Morim, v'kodesh eshkim, v'zdaka, shval ruach. Does it mean that the Eibishter makes a cheshbon? If someone else had these talents, come on, it's not to say such silly things. How can you say such a thing like that? Obviously, the anivus of the Eibishter it's not because had a cheshbon al piseichel. That's the way it's in Kedusha. That's the way, just like Teva Atov Lahetiv. The Eibishter is the way it is Morim v'kodesh eshkein v'zdaku shvar ruach. Dafke, by the shvar ruach, the Eibishter wants the shvar ruach. Same thing by Moshe Rabbeinu. There's 2 levels in the bittul and the anov of Moshe Rabbeinu. There is a humility of Moshe Rabbeinu, which comes api cheshbon, b'chinas bina, a cheshbon, memta shari bina. There's a cheshbon. Tzaddikim, it's not that they don't know their milas, but they have a cheshbon of why they're humble. But there is, Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen to be a Navi. You can't say there's a Cheshbon. Why? Because the Eibush depict you. Ata b'chartonu. So what, you're going to get a Cheshbon now? But over here the bittul is, because in Kedusha, everything Kedusha is bottled. Like that Tzemach Tzedek says, that's just the way it is. The Esses Fides, that's just the way it is. They're called Anve Eretz. The Klippa is Yesh, Gaiva, Amalek, Azus, Chutzpah. Kedusha is bittul. That's just the way it is. It's innate. That's not a bittul b'pchinas bina. It's bittul b'pchinas keser. That's why it's not a mastida between the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. The Bavli is talking about the lower level of Anova. So we're saying Anova, the lower level of Anova, brings to Yidas Chet. Yerushalmi is talking about the higher level of Anova. The Bishur Malevi that says that the highest level is Anova is talking about the Anova, the higher level of Anova, not the Anivus that comes from a Cheshbon. But that Kedusha dike Anivus, when a person enters a place of Kedusha, he feels Anivus. He feels humble. He feels humbled. Esav is a Balgaiva. Amalek is a Balgaiva. Yaakov Avinu is humble. It's just natural. That's the way it is. So the Rebbe says, perhaps with this you can explain the machloikis of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Yossi holds that we say that the Mishnah says Botla Anova. Which Anova we're talking about? The lower level of Anova. The Anova of a Cheshbon. So he says, don't say that's bottle. Why should you say it's bottle? I could also make that Cheshbon that I am bottle. But Reb Nachman, who Reb Faket, he's the Chasidei Bovel, and we're saying the Chassidus says that Dafke through the Yigi and Torah through Bovel, you get to a higher level to Keser. Reb Nachman, who's Chasidei Bovel, says that we were talking about the Anova Bittel Be'etzim, the Keser, the higher level of Bittel, and that is really bottle. Mishamei Serebi, you can't say that that's still around. That's talking that around anymore. Yidas Chet is there, but Anova is not there anymore. So the Yossi was talking about the lower level of bittles. He said, "Lo tisna Anova deika no." But Reb Nachman was talking about the higher level of bittles. He said, "Lo tisna Yidas Chet deika no." You can't say Yidas Chet, but Anova, the higher level, that taka is not there anymore. And so that's the third biur that we have. So again. Should summarize the three biyurim. What's the machloikis here? Reb Nachman and Reb Yossi. The first is that the machloikis, or the machloikis between the Babel and the Yerushalmi, which is the lower one? Is it Anova or Yidas Chet? And each one holds that only the lower one is still around. Reb Yossi holds Anova, and that Anova is the lower one. So he says Anova is still around. Reb Nachman says Yidas Chet is the lower one. Therefore Yidas Chet is still around. Second pshat is, the shaila is, he's Taka, Rabbi Yossi says that he's an onav, because he has nothing. The Torah is a gift. But Rabbi Nachman says, what's that? But you're a better person. So Rabbi Yossi says, the better is not me. The better is the Torah that's in me. Just like by you, your Yidas Chet is not you. It's the Yamulka that's on you. And that's the machlokes Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman. The third biur in the machlokes is, there's biur nifla from the Alter Rebbe, that there's two tools for anivus. One is a cheshbon, why I'm of humility. And the other one, it's not a cheshbon of humility. When a yid goes into kedusha, in a space of kedusha, it comes natural to have anivus. So there is the anivus of Moshe Rabbeinu, it's at the cheshbon, b'chinas bina. There is the anivus of Moshe Rabbeinu, that's the higher than cheshbon. That's just the teva of kedusha. That's just the way it is. And that's b'chinas keser. And that's why it's not a stida between the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. It's not a machloikis min hakotza lakotza. The Bavli was talking about the lower level of Anova. So it's Anova, maybe the Yidas Chet. Yerushalmi was talking the higher level of Anova. Therefore it says Yidas Chet, maybe the Anova, and it's true. The lower level of Anova brings you to Yidas Chet. The Yidas Chet brings you to the higher level of Anova. Just like Chassidus, similar to what Chassidus says, that through Yida you get to Chachma, and through Chachma you get to Yida. And that's tak the machlokas of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Yossi was talking about the lower level of Anova. So he said that's still around. That's still around. But Rabbi Nachman was talking about was said that the Mila of Rebbe HaKodesh was not the lower level of Anova. The Mila of Rebbe HaKodesh was the higher level of Anova. And that really is bottle. Yidischeit, we say we have, but a higher level of Anova, that's taka bottle. What can we take out of this? What's the lesson that we have in Avodas Hashem? The Rebbe says that the lesson is that the L'choira person will say, there's nostalgia for the old time. Amola geven greis achsidim, and amola geven greis Yidden that had Mesidus Nefesh. Yidden had Mesidus Nefesh in the days of the Inquisition. Yidden that had the Mesidus Nefesh under the communists. Yidden that had the Mesidus Nefesh under the Nazis, Yimach Shemam. Yidden that had Mesidus Nefesh in yesteryear. But today is a different thing. Chokoladnikis. But that's not true. Even though the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Mem Daled, Miu Zev Ezo Asher Yorev Liba Lageshes. Now, who could say that I'm going to go and I'm compare myself to the Mile of Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom? By Efes Kaseyu V'Shemetz Menu, the Mile of Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom is Negeya and touches every Yid, and every Yid can have it. And this is what Reb Nachman and Reb Yossi came to tell generation. Now you tell me, oh, it's given Chassidim or Lubavitch 100 years ago. And they learned Chassidus Ayim Beis, and they davened Ba'avoide, Bizboinenus, Bizvoidedus. Their heart was on fire, B'Avas Hashem. And they shared their piece of bread with the other chassid, and they cared for another yid, and they lived together v'yei mishpacha. But no, we're talking about yesteryear, talking about an old time, the old timers. It's the old timers. No. Zogt Rabbi Yossi al tisni anov. The ikano, memela all yidden could learn from me too. Zogt Rabbi Nachman lo tisni yidischei dikano. And in a way, Reb Nachman is the strongest learning for us. That Reb Nachman, who the stargazer said that he'll be anything but a Yiddishkeit, can be a Ganav. And he was able to break the trend and say, Ein Mazel Yisrael, and to be not only a Yiddishkeit, but to be one of the biggest tzaddikim. It's called the Chassidei Bavel, he was called a Chassid. Instead of being a Ganav, he was a Chassid. So Mamela, that's a very strong lesson for all of us.
There was a chosid from the Alter Rebbe that when you learn in Tanya and Girsa Tshuve, the Alter Rebbe bring a lot of certain averos, how many times you have to fast for this. So he was like, to such a avera I have to fast so much, it doesn't pay. This was here at the Torah.
He used to say, he used to cry. He said, you have to bring so much tzedakah. If you can't give so much tzedakah, what are you going to do? He said, don't sin to begin with.
You can't afford it.
Yeah. There's a joke that I told recently in the shul that there's a tshuva from the Noida B'Yehuda that he said that the Peloshan Apostle is Yeshonim Dak Hashem Chasidim Yelchabam Poishim Yikoshlabam. So he wrote the Chasidim Yikoshlabam. He was against the Baal Shem Tov. In a later print, they wanted to fix it. Chassidim wanted to fix the Tshuva Noida B'Yehuda. And they asked, I think it was a Chartikov Rebbe, he said, no, don't. He said, the Noida B'Yehuda took the Poishim and he turned them into Chassidim. And what do you want to do? You want to do the other way around? Leave it the way it is. So we see a lesson from Reb Nachman, that Reb Nachman could have been anything but a Yerechet. And Reb Nachman says, don't say there's no Yerechet, don't say there's no Anova. Rabbi Yosef says there's still Anova and there's still Yidischeit. There are some actually Girsahs that have the Lashon HaGemara from the Pinchas Ben Yoel, Daf Chof and the Avodah Zarah, they have it as the end words of the Mishnah and Sotah. That's a look in the source sheets. In the copy of Sotah that they have, that the end of the Mishnah finishes according to that Girsah, the Pinchas Ben Yoel Omer. Zehirus mevel de zerizus, zerizus mevel de nekiyas, nekiyas mevel de tahara, tahara mevel de perishus, perishus mevel de kedusha, kedusha mevel de anova, anova mevel de yiris chet. This is like the Bavli, that anova is lower, because yiris chet. And the Yerushalmi says the faket, as we said, we talk about two levels of anova, anova the cheshbon, or anova that's shaloyal pi cheshbon. Yiris chet mevel de chasidus, chasidus mevel de ruach hakodesh. Ruach HaKodesh mevel de tchias ha-meisim. Tchias ha-meisim bo al yedei Eliyahu hanovi zechroino livrocha. Meheda v'yameinu. Yovoi v'yaleinu. Kein yehi rotzen amen.
Amen.
These are the words of the Mishnah. So the Eibusha should know that from this parsha, from Moshe, Ish Moshe Anav Me'od, and from the Sikha that we learned that we should take a lesson and we should have extra tools now of how we ourselves get to the dargah of Anova, and we shouldn't say that this is only for Chassidim of yesteryear, that we should get to the Milas Anova, and through Milas Anova to Milas of Yiras Chet, and from Milas Yiras Chet we should get to the higher Mila of Anova, not just Anova which Api Cheshbon, but Anova that's higher even of Cheshbon, and through that higher level of Anova, we jump into having Ruach HaKodesh and Tchias HaMeisim, which will soon happen. Al Yedei Eliyonov v'Zachar L'Tov. And we see from the Mishnah an unbelievable thing. When we mention Eliyonov v'Zachar L'Tov and Tchias HaMeisim, we right away say, we don't just leave it at that. We say, immediately we verbalize that this should happen, be Meida, be Amenu, Yova, v'Galenu, Kein Yehi Rotzen, Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
Yes, Rabbi.
thank you very much. I came late today. I wanted to tell you in the beginning, for Refuah Shelema, the Shiur will be for one of my daughter has tomorrow operation.
Should I have it
Sarah